And many say that they have no interest in sex. And lastly, married couples in the UK and the United States report a steady decline in sexual frequency since the early 2000s.
Yeah, I wrote about that in Mating in Captivity that came out in 2006. That's 20 years ago. Yes, because in order to have sex with a female partner, if that's the man you're talking about, you need to be able to approach her. And so social atrophy is directly connected to what is often called the sexual recession. I mean, in Mating 20 years ago, I have an entire chapter where someone basically says to me, I'd rather have the security of an MBA than of a relationship. Okay? And at that point already, you began to see that adolescents in the United States, it's not everywhere in the world, but certainly in the US, and where more and more going in groups and having less and less pair bonding and less romantic relationships that accompany you through your adolescence, that develop with you. And you basically develop sex as part of a plot and not as something that at some point your hormones force you to do. But a relationship is a story. And then suddenly you arrive at a certain age and now you're looking at this other person with whom you want to have sex, and it's like this unknown continent that you have to conquer. But you've never spoken with those people. You have very little female friends who are just friends, who help you understand what happens with your girlfriend. You know, there's an entire social map that has dissipated. So the sex is the last thing on the list of all these disconnects that then, of course, lead you to have this kind of statistic. Then that means with partners, they have plenty of sex, maybe with themselves and others, but it's partnered sex here that is involved, right? They have sex on porn. They have sex. They don't have partner sex, you know. Do you understand when I say to you, you can add that to your statistics too, that the majority of men who come to sex therapy today for erectile dysfunctions are young men in their 20s. Not old men after prostate issues.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because they spend an enormous amount of time with themselves.
Watching porn and masturbating?
Yes. Because in order to be able to maintain erections with a partner, it's an attunement, right? It's a resonance. It's grooving together. But if you've always just been by yourself, then you only know how to kind of be connected to your own physiological responses.
I've worried about this before. I've worried that if I watch pornography, that I will desensitize myself to the real thing.
Depends how much. Depends if what else is in your life. I mean, it's not an all or nothing thing. But what I'm saying is social atrophy, the gradual disconnect of the multiple touch points between people, leads to then the challenges that are also sexual, leads to the kind of social isolation, leads to people confusing friends and friendships, so they can have 1,000 virtual friends but no one to feed their cat. You know, it's all para.